Hello, ladies. Good morning. Good morning to all of you, or good afternoon, depending on where you're watching in the world. I am Christina Garrett. I am your productivity coach here today for part two of our delegation series. You know how you can have moments where you planned and prepared to do everything a certain kind of way, and then you just decide, you know what, we're going to do it this way. And so one of the things that I have been committed to doing is showing up live consistently, making sure that we're speaking to, talking to, educating, loving on our amazing community with more supportive content to help you guys organize your busy world. Okay. And so I'm making sure that we are live in all of the places today. And it is my hope that you guys are doing well. And you feel like your families are blossoming. You feel like you can breathe a little bit this week. It's kind of hard to believe that we're going into March already. Like March is Friday. Okay. Next week, I will have a 16-year-old kid. So that's kind of wild. And so now I realize I'm sliding into a new phase of my business journey, my personal journey, my family journey. And I hope that you all are feeling the change of the season too. Okay. I hope that you're feeling like you're moving towards getting a handle on things, and you're not having to be as scrappy or as hustly as we move in the direction of our goals. Okay. Hi, Janisha. Good morning to you. I'm just making sure that we are live everywhere. And we're going to go ahead and get started today. I have been really mulling over for a while this topic. And I just taught a session yesterday for an organization called the Mom Project. If you guys are not following them on LinkedIn, they're doing some really amazing work on behalf of working mothers and helping them to feel supported, helping to connect them to organizations that honor those life skills that they have developed over the course of time. And so I was very honored yesterday to go and chat with and share with the Black and brown phenomenal folks over at the Mom Project. And we talked about a lot about delegating. The 99% of the women the folks who were there were women, were married with families, with kids. I got my pen in my hair. And so they really, really needed that content. They really needed to hear, how we can do it better, how we can avoid doing it the scrappy way, doing it the way where we feel like we're always everything is placed on our shoulders, everything is placed in our lap, and now they expect for me to show up and execute in all of these new and exciting ways, and I'm struggling. Right? Like sometimes we can own up to and be honest enough to say, I am struggling. I want to be this person. I want to be the woman that handles business, that addresses the needs. I want to help solve problems. I want to be a problem solver, but I don't want to be the only person who solves problems. I don't want to be the only person that feels like everything is put on her shoulders and placed in her backpack, right? I actually want to feel as though I have the bandwidth, the capacity to show up and deliver well in the world, okay? And so the reason that I rather spontaneously put together this series is because I want for all of us to feel like we have the strategy, not just knowing what we're working on, but that we're actually dropping the knowledge, the strategy, the how-to. Okay. And so I'm going to take a second. I'm going to pull up something, not for you guys to see, but for me to see, because I have been, hold on, guys. I've been teaching the pillars of productivity for a extended amount of time. Like I think at least the last 4 or 5 years, I've been teaching about the pillars of productivity. And it's been so helpful for our community because you want to be more productive. You want to get more done, but you don't want to add more to your plate. You want to get more done. You want to increase your results, but you do not want to add more to your plate. And so when we're sorting through all of this information and content and analyzing the framework, you want to be the person that makes the goal happen. You want to be the person that writes it down, right? I'm grabbing a random piece of paper. You write down your to-dos. You say that you're going to do it. You say you're going to be that person, and then something happens. Usually life gets to lifing, right? Usually something comes up for you internally in your schedule, with your kids, with your family, and you look down at this to-do list and it has multiplied from this one little couple of things that was there to filling up the entire page. People pick up the phone and they call you, and all of a sudden you're the person that's on deck to put the fire out. All of a sudden, you're the person that is on hand to sort through the chaos because you have the tools that are needed to fix the issue. But what happens when God is calling you to some other things and now it's time to organize your world? Usually when we're like single, no kids, living the free life, this is not the stuff that you need. This is the reason why this community is intently designed for women with families. Because those who may not prioritize their marriage, y'all just got an all right marriage, okay? Executing at level 4, level 5 is fine for you. You did choose not to have kids, you don't have kids, whatever reason, all fine and good. That's your life choice, or that's what, where your season of life is at this time, okay? But for those of us who are responsible, right, to more than just ourselves, that's all this is. You're responsible to more than just yourself. So when we become that woman who has goals and work that she loves, I love my job. I feel like I have the best job in the world, right? For those of us who love our work, we love teaching, we love instructing and writing and music and starting nonprofits and working in law and running for politics and all of these amazing things. We love our work. We also love our families. We also want to be the person that they can rely on and call on and be available to them as well. So we have this multifaceted existence that has to get organized. You don't need to get organized early, right? Like you single, no kids, you can just do whatever you want to do. I'm sure you need some realm of self-discipline, all the stuff. But if you're not disciplined, the only person that suffers from that lack of discipline is you. The only person that suffers from that lack of discipline is you. But when you are someone who you are called to, designed to create some amazing things, when you are that person, that's when we have a whole different conversation that needs to be had. That's where we decide that there are some elements that need to be sorted through. Because prior to this season of your life, you didn't need all that. Right? I see y'all. Prior to this last season of this other season, you didn't need all of that. But in this season, you have to organize. Otherwise, none of it's going to happen. None of it's going to get done. So many moving pieces, so many different layers of your living where you want to take care of you. You want to love your husband well. You want to take care of your kids and be present and nurturing and loving. And you have work you love, a passion that fuels you. And you know it's supposed to be a big deal. You know it's supposed to change lives, supposed to change the world. You know this. And because you know this, now's the time that we have to get some things organized. Now's the time where we have to sort through some of the extra, okay? Now's the time where we get to say, hey, you know what? Now I need this. I didn't need this before. And that's okay. Like I tell my ladies all the time, like you'll go through seasons of life where you may need this, you might not need this. That's okay. But many of them I see come through Mamathon in cycles. They come through it in cycles. Because I go through a season of my life where this is really where I need to be focused. But now I get pushed into a season where I've started the business. I'm working at my law firm. I decided to become a teacher. I decided to run for office. I decided that I was going to start this business. I was going to be a speaker. I was going to write this book and become and unbecome the best kept secret. Like these are what my clients are saying. They're like, I want to book more media opportunities. I want to be on TV. One of my clients was on TV this morning. She learned how to pitch and she nailed her pitch. We work right through it. Okay. So you know that it's supposed to be bigger than what it is, but without organizing your world, sis, you will miss it. You'll miss it. And God will spin the block for you. He's faithful. He'll bring it back around for you so that you get another chance. He's faithful like that. He's good to us like that. But I don't want to wait until 2026 to have my moment, right? I don't want to wait until that time. And so this week we're talking about one of you all's favorite topics, which is delegating. Okay, we're talking about delegating all week. And the reason that we're doing that is because I really want to elaborate further into this life hack, into this cheat code of sorts where you get to kind of analyze and figure out for yourself what it would look like for you to do the next thing. Okay, what it would look like. How do I lean into work harder to get to this other place? Okay. In the midst of you making this transition, in the midst of you making this decision, you will come up against some mind clutter. You'll come up against some mind drama, right? Hey, everybody, you will come up against some moments in your life where you say, this feels harder than I think it should feel. You're going to come up against these moments where you decide for a second, you know what? I'm not really sure if this is for me. You're going to have those moments. I, as your productivity coach, whether we work one-to-one yet or not, okay, I believe that these moments are a sign that you're moving in the right direction. I started the internet up a little, maybe several weeks ago, because I was talking about capacity. And I was sharing, and I shared with my clients in our mastermind and one-on-one and everything. I'm like, capacity is something that we build. It is not something that is just assigned to you. It's not like, the Bible talks about everyone gets a measure of grace. Like, okay, here's your capacity, and here's a little capacity for you. And here, you're a better person, so here's bigger capacity for you. No, the Bible says God is not a respecter of persons. Right? Good morning. God is not a respecter of persons. If this is the case, he's given me capacity to show up and to execute and to do the things. And then just like a muscle that gets stronger day by day, just like showing up consistently, day by day, you get better and better. Your capacity grows. And what used to be a problem, what used to feel like it was setting your entire life on fire, no longer feels that way. You should be able to tangibly see the growth. Okay. You should be able to say, 2 years ago, if this problem came up for me, I would be losing it. But this year, not the case. My event planner, who helps me with all of my conference, everything, she called me and she was like, listen, we got a situation. This is happening, that's happening, da, da, da. I said, okay, that's not a problem. Let's just go ahead and move to making it happen. Okay, making the conference stuff happen, the checklist of things. Her messaging me with this red alarm. It was like, okay, this has to happen, but it didn't set me on fire because my capacity has been grown. It's been grown. So some of my favorite folks are like, listen, I believe that capacity isn't grown. That's fine for you to believe that. That's a thought. That's not factual. That's a thought. What you used to think was so elusive and I couldn't do it, I couldn't get to it, all of a sudden you're able to get to it. That means that my capacity has grown. I'm no longer the person that I used to be. At one point in time, I just prayed for I just want to get a logo, right? I did a post yesterday about logos on Facebook about securing more media opportunities. At one point in time, I just wanted to get one. I wanted to be in Essence Magazine one time. Just once. I just wanted to have it on my website. That was it. That's all I wanted. If I get it one time, I know I've made it. And here I am now working on Essence number 7 in the last little under 2 years, right? The idea instead is capacity is strengthened. So now Like when I see the Essence like email stuff coming into my email and they're like writing me about stuff, I don't go into like a, oh my God, this is my email. Like my capacity has grown for big opportunities so that it no longer feels like I'm only here at level 2, level 3. There are more levels for you to grow to. You're supposed to grow there. Okay. And maybe the reason that you tapped in today is you want to get more stuff off your plate. But I'm going to tell you something. There's a level of believing in your own growth that has to happen for you to even start the delegation process. Okay. And so, one of the things that I believe is that delegating takes 3 things. If you're on our email list, okay, you should have seen the first one. Okay. If you're on our email list, you should have seen the first one yesterday. I sent out the video again. It's on the feed. That the first thing delegating requires is time. Okay. And I elaborated about how a lot of us, we have been, what's the word I'm looking for? We have been the primary problem solvers in our life and our family for years. You've been the person that everybody went to for years. You've been that chick. You put out the fires. You've calmed the chaos. You've always known where the missing shoe was. You've always, if somebody didn't do what they were supposed to do, you swooped in to fix it. You've always been that girl. And so now that you're walking into spaces where we're deciding to shift the paradigm of how we're living, we're deciding to turn some things around and do something different. We're deciding it's okay to love our work. It's okay for me to dive in and love it. And I can also be this person for my family too. Now that we're here in this place, we got to make some changes. Okay. And so the first thing that delegating requires is time. Okay. It requires us addressing how much space we're willing to commit. Okay. To undoing our past yeses. Okay. To undoing the yeses of the past. Okay. Now, if we were to define delegating, I pulled up my slides. Y'all don't need them, but I've done this in more depth. The word delegate means to entrust a task or responsibility to another person. Typically, this person is less senior than yourself. Okay. It does not mean this person is less important than you. It means this person may be less senior in this particular area than you usually are. So let's say usually you were the senior in managing certain household things. And now you want to delegate some of this to your spouse or to your kids or to bringing in an au pair or hiring a cleaning service or whatever those things are for you. You've decided that that's something that you're going to do differently. Okay. So in the midst of this, you have to say, all right, I'm willing to entrust this task. I'm willing to give it away. Now, when I spoke for the Mom Project yesterday, they had a lot of feelings sometimes about this stuff because it was like, but wait, I'm thoroughly convinced that my husband is not able to handle these particular tasks or things like I am. And I was like, you know what? I really welcome that truth. They were like, he's so organized at work. When he comes home, the organization and the focus is done. Okay. And I told them, I was like, we will not, I just rebuked that. We will not be headed to divorce court over dishes. Y'all hearing me? We will not be headed to divorce court over dishes. We're not going to head to divorce court over the bathrooms. We're not going to head to divorce court over anything that somebody else could do. Nothing that somebody else can do. How about that? How about we're going to focus our energy on the stuff that's actually that's going to pop up in our eulogy one day? What about that? And let's learn to release some of these other things so that we can show up in the ways we want to. Okay. So I'm going to be teaching delegation more thoroughly on Friday at 12 noon. However, okay, I want to put emphasis today that delegating requires time. And part two, delegating requires training. Delegating requires training. Okay. Most of us want to just look at the Instagram post. You know, you see like the self-care, don't care post, all the stuff. We see the whole if it costs me my peace is too expensive. Like this whole mantra, this whole attitude that we get about, you know, creating this space and this bubble around us and no one better disturb it and all this stuff. Okay. I love it. It sounds good. But is it really lucrative in the ways that we want it to be lucrative? Okay. So when I think about delegating, it takes time, but most of us don't want to take the effort, the initiative to train our loved ones or teach our loved ones about how to meet us where we are. We don't want to take the time. We don't want to do the training. Okay. So I was sharing yesterday afternoon. I was like, you know, most of the time we don't want to slow down with our kids and show them exactly what a thoroughly done kitchen looks like. We don't want to slow down and show them that. We don't want to slow down and show them after you're done eating, this is how you rinse your dish and put it in the dishwasher. This is how you sweep the floor. This is how you mop. This is how you do this, how you do that. We don't really want to do all of that. We don't really want to. And because we don't want to, we slow down our own progress on the things that matter most of all. So you will need to look at how can I organize my life in such a way? Good morning. How can I organize my life in such a way that I am training others to support the mission, training others to support the movement? Okay, you cannot just wake up, see the Instagram post, and decide I'm going to delegate and live a life of peace and just step into who I really am. And anybody that slows me down is a hater. This is the mood that we're sharing in the world right now. This is the mood. We're sharing the mantra of I'm entitled to this without the work, without the efforts, without the teaching. This is how we're putting it out into the world. Okay? Are you willing to be the person who steps up to the plate, actually follows through with what she said she was going to do? Right? Like a lot of us, we don't keep promises to ourselves. Of course, it's hard for us to require others to hold to what they said because we don't do it. We say yes, we turn into a no. We say no, we turn into a yes and go and do something that's not aligned with the journey. Okay? You say you want help. And then when they don't do it the way you feel like it should be done, you swoop in to take over instead of slowing down and teaching them what should be done. A lot of us, we're going into new phases in business and leveling up in those ways. You say you want support, I'm going to hire an assistant. Wonderful. She can't step in to do any of the stuff that you want her to do if you don't teach her or him. When my cleaning lady comes, sometimes I'm like, I don't even need you to clean everything, mama. I need you to do my bedroom, the bathrooms, and my kitchen. Those are my problem areas. My children who pay no rent and are poor have to take care of their own rooms, living room, dining room, den. Okay. But I had to teach her, this is what I want to happen. This is what I don't want to happen because I know what I want for myself. And so yesterday we challenged this idea of wanting more, but not knowing what the more is. We challenged the idea of wanting help and support, but not being able to verbalize, this is what I'm working towards. We say that we want the next level. We want to walk the distance. We want to become that person. But then when it's time, when it comes down to the wire, what happens? You end up doing everything else but. You do everything else but the thing that you said you were going to do. Okay? So when we're thinking about delegating, first you got to take the time. Many of us have been the primary problem solvers for years. It takes time for you to stop doing that. Okay? And then it takes training. You have to listen. And y'all always get a little upset with me about this one, but just go with me. Okay? Many of us are not finishers. Many of us are not finishers. Okay? So when it comes time to be someone that completes the things that we say we're going to do, we fall off. We fall off. Okay? So when I start talking to you about delegating and being someone who practices completion, who sets a goal and completes the goal, sometimes something comes up internally for us because we know that we have this tendency on the inside to pull back and not finish. Okay? So then we decide we want to delegate some stuff. And what comes up internally is I got to teach my children to be someone that I am not. What comes up is this internal hypocrisy. This internal hypocrisy that I know I don't complete things. How do I teach my children to finish and I don't finish? So here I am talking to them about something as simple as the kitchen, as simple as my kids love. They are no different than your kids. They love to sweep the floor and not sweep it into the dustpan and throw it away. Fam, what y'all doing? And I would have to come behind them and say, hi, I see that you did not complete this. Come back and finish. Did you finish that? Did you work on it and get it done? Is it done? Don't come back till it's finished, because a lot of times we let our frustration, our exhaustion, and a myriad of other things roll us over. It keeps rolling over again and again. The goal you have for this month becomes a goal you have for next month. And then it keeps going over and over. And we have this challenge with training our kids and challenge with training others to support the movement, because we ourselves are not people that finish stuff. Okay? So can we just let that simmer? In what areas in my life do I need to work on completing things? In what areas of my life do I need to work on being a finisher? Okay? So this is where this comes up for us. We have to teach our staff to support us. Okay? To handle affairs and matters and problems that come up in our absence. Okay? We have to learn to automate on purpose. Okay? I text my assistant and I email her. I do both of them. Hi, here, can you do this? Can you knock this out? What are the fastest ways for me to get this out of my hands and into yours? If you don't have that kind of support, what do we need to streamline so that it's easier to implement? But very often we have a hindrance because we don't want to slow down enough to teach other people what they need to know. And that becomes a problem. Okay. So are you willing to undo the ask that you used to have? Are you willing to undo that? Are you willing to say, I'm willing to take the time? And are you willing to teach the people around you to support that mission, to support that work? Because there will be these moments where you can no longer double yourself. There are going to be these moments where you feel thoroughly human. And you're like, I really do need the support. I've been turning away support. I've been turning down support for a lot of hours, I've been turning folks, I got it. Thank you. I'm good. And instead of receiving and accepting the support, we start to turn it away. What's going on with that? And how do we get to elect to amend? Okay, how do I get to opt into feeling a different level of openness and freedom and all of this? I have access to every bit of it. Like, I choose now not to micromanage over my family. I choose not to micromanage like I did. I used to hover over it all the time, constantly. I used to constantly look over it. Are y'all doing it the way I think you should do it? Instead of analyzing and feeling refreshed by the idea that I've taught you critical thinking skills. You know how to finish this. Please come back and finish. And I can say that with an assertive mindset, okay? Because I've worked on becoming a finisher for myself. So I don't have any internal hypocrisy or guilt about that. I'm going to work on being the best I can. You all work on being the best you can. Together, we're a team. We're going to make all the goals happen. Okay? So delegating takes time. Delegating also takes training. Takes training. You got to be willing to slow down, take a breath, and show them a finished kitchen day is both sides of the sink completely clear. A good kitchen day is the floor is swept and mopped. You wipe this down, you wipe that down. There's no little coffee ring stains on the counter. None of this stuff all needs to be done. For my assistant, it looks like these are the things I need you to focus on this week. I'm sending it to you for you to work on, make the magic happen. I have released the reins. I don't have to micromanage that like I did because I've taught her what needs to happen. I've shown her what needs to happen. Okay, and so tomorrow, I'm trying to think if I can do it at 11. I got to be at the kids' co-op stuff. And so it may be after I come home in the afternoon. Just make sure you're on the email list, themamathondiaries.com. Somebody will put that in the chat, please, so that you guys can opt in and be a part of it. The vision is that we will create a new flow because there's a lot of great work to do. Okay, there's a lot of great work to do. I believe, even if you're working on believing it for yourself, I believe that you all are such a big deal and you have so much amazing work to put out into the world. I just believe that. For my clients, I believe it. For those of you who are in our community, I believe it. I just believe that there's so much dynamic, exciting work to do that people are waiting for your voice and your lived experience to change the world, but we will not get to it if we're too busy micromanaging over everybody else and everything else. We won't get to it. Okay? So let's slow down, carve the time out so that becomes a reality for us. Okay? So delegating takes time. It also takes training. The process of teaching critical thinking skills and empowering others to take action in your place. That's what it's all about. Okay. So as I close out this afternoon or this morning, it's still morning time. Right after the live yesterday, I had a really amazing mama come and hop in my DMs. And she was like, listen, you were talking about that discovery call. I need that link. I need to come on and talk about what my goals are and what I want to succeed at. And so we already have several discovery calls lined up for the month of March. If you are a superstar mama, you hear me? Like, I'm not even looking for anybody anymore who is not serious about their own personal work. And they know they have something that's exciting, it's dynamic. And you're like, I'm going in this direction. I just have some gaps in my process. Like, I got a million children and I'm trying to be a super hot wife and I'm trying to take care of me and manage my home well. And I have this work that I love. And I know more people are supposed to know about it. And I know I need to reclaim my time. And I know I need to be consistent and get rid of my imposter syndrome and stop procrastinating. I know this next level is waiting for me. But I got to change. The way I currently am right now is not going to get it. I need some support walking through the process of changing my life. Okay. And so if that's you, if you're watching and you're like, Christina, I know you're my person. I've been here for a minute. Like, I would really benefit from meeting with you every single week. We're only talking about you. We're only talking about your life. Here in this space, we're talking about everybody's family. On one-on-one calls, my clients soar. There's a visible difference. Like, even all of my one-on-one clients are in the mastermind too, right? Most of them. And there's a visible difference with those who meet with me every week, who have chosen to invest in one-to-one coaching versus the group, right? Because some of us come one week and not come another week. My one-to-one clients see me every week. If we have life that comes up, we're still in contact, and we're meeting, and we're talking about the strategy, and we're creating. And so there's a tangible difference. The ones who have me every week, they're like, oh snap, like I have these wins. And the women in the mastermind are winning too, but you can see the difference of those who've been with me for 6 months, 8 months, a year. Okay. So I want to invite you. It's just an invitation. No pressure, invitation. You know who you are. You know, you've been here for a while. You can look back, you can Google us and see that over the course of time, we've gone from a blog to an international coaching and consulting agency, where we're working with companies like Essence Magazine, Hyatt Hotels, the Housing Authority, multiple universities throughout the country. Every single week, we're creating in just this way. And I teach my clients how to create like this too. Okay. So it's about more than delegating and chore charts and organizing your laundry and making your drawers look like, the Instagram drawers with like the little clear, clackety things, and everything's perfectly organized. That's not what it's about. Mamathon is all about helping you to change the world in your own way. One of those ways is delegating. So you have created more capacity. You've created more time. You create more energy. You create more focus and consistency because you know that there's something waiting on the other side of organizing your world. Okay. So if that's you and you're like, Christina, I believe it's time. I'm ready. I want to work. We have the conference coming up in October. The details are on their way to the email list first. Okay. So for those of you that want to work together up until that point, and then come and join us VIP style in Atlanta in October. I just believe that that this is one of the most luxurious gifts you can offer yourself, is to not take the scenic route or the struggle way or the I got to Google it way to get to success. Okay. I love that for us. Okay. I love that for us. So if that's you, slide in my DMs. I will send you the link. We'll book for March. It looks like now we'll book for March. But to go ahead and help you get the process started. Many of us started with the vision board workshops in January and even February and all of this stuff. But I'm going to tell you something. There's a disconnect. There's a very real disconnect between what we cut up and put on the vision board and what we actually see come to life. There's a visible disconnect when we look at becoming a literal different woman, and now our husband is sleeping with somebody completely different. And he's like, you used to be this way, but I see you growing into this person. And I'm glad that you're growing into this person, but my experience with you is now different. There's a disconnect when we talk about goals and capacity and self-care, because we're not including into this picture all of these other moving pieces, all of these intangibles. We don't talk about those like we should. We don't talk about the exhaustion. We're not talking about the postpartum depression. We're not talking about the anxiety. We're not talking about the imposter syndrome that you feel in your neck and shoulders as you literally grow out of your old cocoon into a new person. What? And how does that affect my family, my friends, my relationships, how my house runs? I can remember my business kicking off, and I was telling my husband, we need to hire a cleaning service because I just can't be doing this, right? When it was my idea, I was fine with it. When he walked through the house and said, we need a cleaning service, I was offended. I was like, are you telling me that You don't think I'm on top of stuff? No. I had to learn how to delegate more to the kids and work on my time management and on my strategy and all of this stuff. Like things had to change. Mamathon wasn't a blog that I could post to once a week anymore. It's a full-time coaching and consulting project. The conference alone is a multi-five-figure effort, right? So I'm no longer the person that I was. My life had to adjust to support the work. Okay? Had to adjust to support the work. And maybe, just maybe, you're in the process of filling those gaps in. And you're like, I need someone who's already been there, done that, to show me how. To walk with me while I do it, while I go through the emotional cycle of change, right? While I go through the change that comes with me setting up boundaries and learning to delegate and how to opt out of overwhelm and becoming a different wife and a different mom and all of these things that happen as a result of you choosing and saying yes, all of this comes into play. These are invisible, they're intangible, but best believe they affect what you see every day. They affect the piles of stuff that are sitting around your house. They affect how you finish things. They affect how you make decisions. They affect how much money you make, how rested you are, the relationship you have with your husband and children. It affects all of it. Some of them are intangible. You can't touch them or hold them in your hands, but they turn into things that are visible. Indecision, if you have piles of anything sitting around your house, it's because you're an indecisive person. I saw a post yesterday about overthinking, one of my favorite coaches online. And she said, I just don't have time to overthink. Like, it's not a thing for me. And I commented, and I was, and many people agreed, right? We're saying, everyone's brains work differently. So the causation of what you see about overthinking shows up in these other places. And often we overthink because we have so much riding on our decisions, or we feel like there's so much riding on our decisions that we struggle to make one, right? Because we feel like if I make it and it's the wrong one, everything's going to fall apart. My family, my kids, all of it going to just crumble. Okay. And so what we want to do instead is create a strategic plan that allows you to stretch your wings with a slow but steady stretching into that capacity. Okay. We don't just jump in to the Atlantic Ocean and try to swim. We decide that we're a big deal. We commit to it. And then from that place, we let all those other things unfold. Okay. So that is it for today. If you are interested in connecting to talk about coaching, if you know that you would grow exponentially, I already know it, but you need to know it too, that there's so much waiting on you to execute on in the world. And so if you're interested in working together, do me a favor, hop in my DMs after this is over. No need to feel shy or embarrassed or any of that. Every single woman that comes to the discovery call, to the coaching call, feels like they're behind in some way, feels like it's them that's the issue, feels like there's something in their life that's broken. Everybody always feels that way. They always feel like, oh, Christina, this is so much. I know I'm just giving you so much. It feels like it's a lot. And for me, because this is the work that I do, it doesn't feel like it's so much. Okay, it feels like something, oh, we just need to move the pieces around to make it work. Okay, so I look forward to seeing you guys. Having my messenger if you're interested in working together. And then tomorrow, I don't know if I can go live tomorrow. So I'll probably send out an email. So make sure you're on the list. And then we'll be live on Friday at noon. Okay, we'll be live on Friday at noon to work through all three pillars of delegating together and how it plays a role in how productive you are on a day-to-day basis. Okay, all right, guys, that's it for today. I love you dearly, and we will see you all next time.